guys, it's Sarah and I am here today to do a tag video. I don't do them very often, but when I see one that I really like and I'm interested in doing, then I will do one, and that's what this is here today. So this is the Library 411 tag, and I will link the original tag down below as well as Krista's video from Books and Jams, and she's the one who I saw do this, and so I thought it was very interesting. She did not tag me in it, but she did tag anybody who's been to the library in the last week, and that's me. So I was like, she tagged me. So there are 14 questions in this tag, and they all have to do with some sort of section of the library, and you pick books based on that. So I thought it was cute, and I'm definitely a library lover. I'm the president of the Friends of the Library organization at my local library, and I just love them, and I definitely want to support them every chance that I can. And this is actually great timing because it is National Library Week that just passed. It was last week, but I'm still really excited to talk about it. Okay, question number 1 is Information Desk, and you are supposed to pick a book that has helped you in some way. And for that, I'm going to pick The Broken Way by Anne Voskamp, and this is a Christian nonfiction book. This book definitely helped put some things into perspective for me when I read it, because I was really in the midst of dealing with a difficult person in my life, and someone who was deliberately trying to sabotage myself and my friends, and we didn't know why. So it really helped me to kind of take those feelings and give them a place and not at the forefront. And so that's one thing that really stuck out to me in this one. As soon as I read, you know, that kind of that section and that passage about, you know, people who seem like they're out to hurt you and you don't know why, and all this stuff, and kind of how to deal with those feelings without, you know, kind of stooping to that level. So it definitely helped, and I really appreciated it. Question 2 is Return Bin. Name 2 books that you immediately wanted to DNF or return. And I definitely have 2. The first one is one that I actually did DNF, and that is Killing Floor by Lee Child. This is the first book in the Jack Reacher series. I tried to read this. I got about 150 pages in, and I was so bored. Like, really nothing happened in that first 150 pages, and I didn't want to stick with it. So it's totally fine. I have DNF'd it. I'm going to unhaul it as well. I just haven't taken it anywhere yet, but yeah, just not the series for me. And the second one I did finish, but I did not like it at all, and that's Wild by Cheryl Strayed. We read this for my book club, and I just did not like this book. I didn't like Cheryl as a person, and since it was all about her, and all about her justifying a lot of decisions that I just could not get behind, it was really difficult for me to enjoy it because I just didn't like her, and it was literally all about her. So I did not like this one. Question number 3 is Holds section, and this is to name an upcoming release that you cannot wait to get your hands on. There are so many, you guys. I will go with probably the newest release that's going to be coming out that I cannot wait to get my hands on, and that is going to be A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a novella that is part of her Court of Thorns and Roses series. So the original trilogy is already out. I've read all of them. This one is going to be a novella that's going to bridge the gap between the original trilogy and the next set of books that are going to be coming out, which is going to be set in the same world, but it's going to follow a different story arc, and this kind of helps bridge that gap. So I'm really excited to read it and to see what's going to not only happen in there, but where the story is going to go, because no one really knows. We don't know which characters it's going to follow. I'm hoping that Nesta is in there because I'm fascinated by her. She's one of my favorite characters, but we'll see. So that one comes out May 1st. I've already pre-ordered it, and I cannot wait to read it. Question number 4 is Community and Studies Room, and this is to pick a book that you read as an assignment for school and you really enjoyed. And the only book that I have from my college days that is still on my shelves is this one, and this is the Classic Fairy Tales. It's edited by Maria Tartar, and this is a Norton Critical edition. So we did a study of this book in one of my literature classes when I was in college, and it is the original fairy tales. So a whole bunch of fairy tales in their original form before they were all Disneyized, I guess you could say, and we were supposed to, you know, compare and contrast to the stories that are kind of floating around today. And it was very interesting, and I really enjoyed reading the original works, so I have always kept this. So this one has not only the original text, but it also has some criticisms, which was kind of interesting to read about as well. But some of the fairy tales they talk about in here is Little Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Cinderella, Bluebeard, Hansel and Gretel, some Hans Christian Andersen, which is like The Little Mermaid, Little Match Girl, and Oscar Wilde, which has The Selfish Giant, The Happy Prince, and then after that it has some of the criticisms and stuff of some of the works over the years. So it was very interesting. I think this would be something that Kaylin will enjoy when she's definitely like high school, college age, because, you know, some of the originals are pretty gruesome. So, but yeah, I've always kept it. Question number 5 is computers, and that is your favorite either modern classic or your favorite sci-fi. And I'm going to go the sci-fi route. My favorite sci-fi is The Martian by Andy Weir. This is one of the first sci-fis that I read, and I absolutely love this book. It took me by such surprise. Sci-fi is not something I'm completely still even comfortable with, but I'm getting a little bit more into it, and I have been enjoying what I've been reading, and this one was just fantastic. This one has such great humor in it, and one of my favorite lines ever, first lines, but I don't want to say it because it has a curse word in it, so but it's one of my favorite first lines ever. If you want to look it up, you can. But I absolutely love this book, and it follows a man who is an astronaut, and they are on a mission that's on Mars. Something happens, a big storm happens that they weren't expecting. Everyone gets to the ship except for him. They have to take off or they're going to be stranded there, but he gets stranded by himself. They kind of assume that he was knocked out and is not survived, so they take off, but he survived and he has to survive on Mars until they can send another shuttle to come and get him, which, you know, that takes years. So it was very interesting. There's a movie adaptation of this too with Matt Damon in it, and the adaptation is fantastic. They are both really, really great, but definitely one of my favorites. Question 6 is DVD rental. What is one of your most anticipated adaptations? And this one is going to be The Nightingale for me by Kristen Hanna. This is going to be made into a movie. It's already been optioned and picked up. They're still in the very, very early stages, so there's no casting. They haven't started shooting. Like, none of that stuff has happened yet. They're still like very much in early development of it, but it does have a release date of January 2019, so I think that's kind of their goal right now, but I guess we'll see how it goes. But this is one of my favorite books of all time. It's a historical World War II fiction, and it's heartbreaking and it's wonderful, and I love it. I really think this is just one of the most perfect books ever, and yeah, so I hope they do it justice, but it's definitely one that when it does come out, I will definitely be excited to see it. Question number 7 is library sale. Name a book that you picked up randomly without really knowing anything about it, but you ended up enjoying, and that is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I had no idea what this book was about when I picked it up, but I heard a couple people tell me that I would really enjoy it, but I didn't know any details. I really had no idea what it was when I picked it up, and oh my gosh, this book blew me away. It's one of my favorite psychological thrillers. I loved every second of it. The last chapter of this book completely blew my mind. I still think about it. It's incredible, and it gets mixed reviews though. Not everyone liked the last chapter. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was creative and unique and brilliant, and it gave me that shock value that I love so much in thrillers, and it made me want to read everything that Sarah Pinborough writes. Question 8 is teen and young adult room. So name your favorite young adult novel. And for me, that's going to be Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a young adult, kind of a fantasy, magical realism type of book. It follows a traveling, I don't want to say circus, it's more like a entertainment show, but it has all sorts of different acts in it, and it's actually a thing where you can either be a participant in it or you can be a spectator. And if you're a participant, you're actually supposed to try to solve some sort of mystery that is presented to you in the beginning. And it follows two sisters who end up going to Caraval, and it's a very like highly selective of the people that they choose to bring in, and so it's a big deal that they got tickets for it. And one of the sisters ends up being a part of the show without anybody knowing that that was going to be happening. So you follow her other sister who's trying to, you know, figure out where her sister is, what's happened. She doesn't know what's real and what's not, because everything is supposed to be, you know, it's all magical and things are happening and you don't know who's part of the game and who's not. You don't know who to trust and who not to. Nothing is really as it seems. And she's all the while trying to find her sister. And it's so good. This one gets mixed reviews as well. Not everyone was impressed with it. I really was. I loved it. And I am excited to get my hands on the second book, Legendary, which comes out at the end of May. But yeah, so this is probably definitely one of my favorite YAs. Question number 9 is museum tickets. Name a book that had you feeling more cultured after you read it. And that's going to be Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. I bet he read this with a couple ladies back in, oh gosh, was it 2016? I don't remember. And I ended up loving this book, and it was very interesting because this is a biography and it's huge and it's dense, but oh my gosh, it was so entertaining. The way that Ron Chernow the way that Ron Chernow wrote this just had me interested the entire time, and I really felt like I was learning a lot about our founding fathers that I did not know, and they were not the people who are put on pedestals today. Did they do really amazing things for our country? Absolutely. Absolutely. They did things for this country that are invaluable, but they were extremely, extremely flawed human beings. They were human. And it was very interesting to see these different sides of these men and, you know, kind of their brilliant ideas for creating our society and how our society still works today. It was fantastic. But you also saw their flaws and kind of more of their private life. So it was very interesting. Alexander was an extremely interesting character, and I didn't always feel sorry for him. So there's that. But yeah, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I read a history book and I liked it, and it was weird. Question number 10 is Overdrive and Hoopla, and these are 2 apps that you can listen to on audiobooks through libraries. They're the two most popular that are going around right now, and you are supposed to name your favorite audiobook. For me, that's going to be It by Stephen King. I loved this audiobook so much. The narrator is Steven Weber, who is an actor, and he actually starred in a TV adaptation of The Shining, which was interesting. He starred in that back in the, oh gosh, 90s, I think. And he was the audiobook narrator for this, and it was so good. Just the way that he read it, and I could see everything so incredibly clearly, not only because of the writing, because Stephen King's writing is fantastic, but the way that he read it and the voices that he used, especially for Pennywise, was so incredibly creepy, and it was just fantastic. I loved every second of it. It really brought the book to life for me, and it's definitely my favorite audiobook. Question 11 is Request a Purchase, and this is to pick a book that is a little bit lesser known, but you think that everybody should read. And for that, I'm going to go with The Fact of a Body. This is by Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich, and this is a nonfiction book, and it follows Alexandria's experience as a lawyer, and she picks up a case that has kind of gone cold, and they're supposed to pick it back up and, you know, see what they can figure out now a little years later. And she is working on this case for a man who's on death row. She is against death row. However, this case she starts questioning her morals about that and questioning her values about the death penalty, because the man in this case was a child molester and killed a child. So that's why he is on death row. And oh my gosh, this book blew me away. It is a nonfiction. This actually happened. Alexandria really went through this experience, and this case was real. And upon doing research afterwards about this man and what happened, oh my gosh, it was the creepiest thing ever. And this book had me very upset with the way that this child molester was treated. And it's not because, oh, he doesn't deserve that. It's because nobody helped this man. Nobody helped him. He went to a psychologist saying, you know, I have a problem. I want to do these things, and I know that it's wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And he tried to get help, and they just kept sending him away. And I was just like, no one's helping this man. What is going on? You know, he's literally like begging to be hospitalized or institutionalized or something, and they're not taking him seriously. And it made me so mad. And a child died because of it, and I just can't. And my sympathy for him is extremely limited. Don't get me wrong. He did these things and he shouldn't have. So he deserved to be on death row for what he did. But it gave me a new perspective on it. So that was very, very interesting. And a lot of the things that were happening in this case kind of coincided with things that happened to her in her childhood, which was completely heartbreaking. And it was just so incredibly interesting. And just knowing that this was all true and it's all real was just so fascinating to me. And so I wish more people would read this book. Question number 12 is The Librarians, and it is a character who loves to help people. I'm going to say Madeline from Big Little Lies. Now, Madeline was a very interesting character. She's my favorite character in here. But she definitely loves to help people, especially her two friends. And she definitely was a little bit more loyal to them. But you did really see her step up for other people as well. And she was really just kind of like the mother hen of the group, where she just wanted to take care of everybody and fix things and make everything right and do all that. She didn't always do the best job, but she tried. Question number 13 is Sanctuary, and that is to name a book that is kind of your safety net and that has helped you through some tough times. So for that, I'm going to say my Bible. I really am. And Krista said this as well, and it's like it would be the same answer for me too, even if I hadn't watched her video first, because this is really the only book that I am reading daily and into daily. And when I'm going through a hard time, it always just kind of picks me up and it gives me perspective and it helps me through that. So it's a big comfort for me. And yeah, definitely a Sanctuary. Okay, I said that there were 14 questions, but there's only 13. I thought there were 14. I don't know where I got that number from, but 13 questions. So that is it for the Library 411 tag. I'm going to tag a couple people as well, people that I know use their library and love their library. So the first one is Lindsay's Little Library. So I would love to see her do this one as well. And then I am also going to tag Robin from The Driftless Reader, because I know she uses her library as well. So I hope you ladies will do this tag, and I am excited to see your videos if you do that. So if any of you guys make videos and you want to do this tag as well, then I will go ahead and tag you too. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know what some of your answers would be for some of these questions, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day. Bye.